everyone. Welcome back to Anmoll Astrology channel. Now, this video is about Mercury's transit in the sign of Capricorn. On 24th of January 2025, Mercury is going to transit in the sign of Capricorn. So let's first understand what is Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, and then we will discuss about how it affects when it comes into a transit and for each and every ascendant, right? And for those who always ask, do we have to see this from a moon chart? Do we have to see this as our moon rashi, or we have to see it as our ascendant? Then let me tell you, you first have to see as the ascendant and then look it from your moon sign. Okay? So Mercury in the sign of Capricorn. Mercury, as we all know, is a planet of communication, our intellect, our observance, how our intelligence works. Do we think? What is our thinking process? Do we think slow? Are we very smart, clever, active? And Mercury somehow also tells us about what type of feelings do we have inside us. So, these types of feelings when we have vengeance, when we have revenge, full nature, when we have jealousy, this is all ruled by Mercury. If you have a heavily afflicted Mercury, you're going to be fearful and you are going to have all the negative qualities. But if you have a good Mercury, you would have rather good qualities within you. Mercury also rules the natural third house and also the sixth house. So that's why it also reflects our physique, our nutrition. You see, people with a prominent Mercury will be very careful about what they are eating, or they're very careful and conscious about their looks. Since it is third house and the combination of sixth house, this means that a person is very particular about what image they are having on the outside. Because third house, whenever a planet comes into the third house, it becomes super conscious, it becomes super active. And suppose moon comes in the third house, you're super active and conscious of your emotions, how well you are respected and acknowledged with your emotions. And if Mercury is there, you are very, keen on how your communication is being represented, how how you are interacting with people. If your Venus is there, you're very, very conscious about your physique. Right. So that's why Mercury also represents our skills. Somehow it does represent our ability to gather courage in a situation, right? It also represents our communication, style of communication, our writing skills, publishing skills. It also represents our conflicts, debts, money matters, business. Okay, so that's all Mercury is about. And now the sign of Capricorn. So there's some problem that I have on my tongue, because of which I'm not able to speak properly. So if I fumble a word, or you see a sound, different sound coming out of my mouth, so please understand that. So yeah, the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign ruled by Saturn, and it naturally falls in the 10th house, right? So this is a sign and the house of your actions, karma, government, legal activities, but it's more so government associated activities rather than legal activities. Surprisingly, I have seen something, as per my research over a period of time, that more than even sixth house, if you need to see legal activities, see that from the seventh house. A destroyed seventh house will give you legal issues, not a destroyed sixth house. And this surprisingly I've seen when I was researching about Rahu and Ketu's transit through through seventh and sixth house. So that's what was the comparison that I saw there. Okay. So coming back to Capricorn. So Capricorn is structure, it's discipline, it's in a way, what your karma is about, what you do, in your career or what you do in your daily life, how you are presented out in public, right? So when Mercury comes into the sign of Capricorn, first of all, according to me, this is one of the difficult situations for Mercury to be in. Now, this is regardless of if it is a friend of Saturn, it is enemy of Saturn, or XYZ. It's just about the situation you are getting Mercury into. So when Mercury comes into the 10th house, or when it comes into the sign of Capricorn, this means that a planet who is a youthful prince, who wants the freedom, who wants to explore, who is curious at the most, you are restricting this planet. You are putting this planet in a box. So when you put a planet, you put suppose that what is that called? A fizz ball? You throw that and that is going to come back, and then that has to stop somewhere. It doesn't stop until unless you stop it, or you put that into a structure where it has to stop. So that is like Mercury. Mercury is a planet who wants to go here and there, who wants to try different things, who wants to just be a youthful, free-minded person. And you put them into a workspace, you put them into a restricted area. So, first of all, this shows that this person in their life, they are not born restricted with communication, but in their life, they are going to go through situations where they'll be forced to restrict their communication. They will have speech issues, or they will have some issue related to like delay in speech. Maybe when if you have Mercury in Capricorn, when you are born, you might have had delayed speech, or you might have had problems with speech. Right? Because Capricorn is the sign of delay. Capricorn is the sign of slow and steady growth. Definitely, these people have that intelligence. They do develop a very strong intelligence, a stable foundation within their life, but they develop it over a period of time. This is not a fast growth, conjunction or situation. This is rather a slow and steady growth. So first thing what it does is this makes you very conscious of your status and also very super conscious of your career. When you have Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, you have to restrict your communication, or you have to put your communication into a, restricted area or into a structure. That's why these people will, over a period of time, they develop that talent that they start having very structural communication. So they can be excellent data analysts. They can be excellent, that editors or, rephrasers, or people who proofread, the articles, and then decide what should be posted or what shouldn't be posted. Then when Mercury comes into the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn sign decides your authority. So Mercury coming into the sign of Capricorn is like that you find it very hard to decide your authority in the initial years. So you find it hard to actually, even if, for example, I'll give an example here. For if suppose you are trying to make a decision, a firm decision in front of someone, you may get criticized for that. The moment you're going to get criticized, you're going to lose that particular foundation of your decision. This is going to be a pattern you're going to face over a period of time. But then all of these situations are going to actually transform you into a person who is going to give excellent decisions and is going to be firm about his or her decisions in life. This also can give you some karma related to documentations, related to government. So that's why whenever you sign a document, you have to be very careful. You have to proofread, you have to recheck everything. You have to be clear with your communication. Otherwise, this placement can get you misunderstood. But what this does is this controls your instability in life. That's why this position can give you stable foundation and stability in your career over a period of time. In the beginning, in the initial years, like for example, from 20 to 30, maybe even 40 years, you might feel very confused about which career to follow because that's the influence of Mercury on the 10th house, right? But as this Mercury is going to mature, and especially after 32nd age, you're going to start developing focus and determined, you know, uh, sorry, the bell is ringing and I think my daughter is there. So that's why I just got distracted. Just 1 second. Okay. So I just forgot where I was, but let's come back to the topic. So when Mercury comes into the sign of Capricorn, it you have to be careful with your communication and with your documentations because there's a nakshatra Shravana that comes in. Then we have Uttarashar, we have Dhanishta. These are the nakshatras that can actually either make you deal with some loopholes regarding, your career or government, or it can make you go into battles. These battles can be verbal battles, or it can be even battle with the government, right? So simply, Mercury in the sign of Capricorn means that a person has to have a structured communication. They have to have a structured set of skills. Now, these people are excellent criticizers. If they become a critique, they are excellent. They have good set of skills and they are very focused with those set of skills. And they are not just born with all of these skills and talents. They develop that over a period of time. Now these people are very conscious of their authority and very conscious of their image in the public. Okay, and with career, they should always decide on one particular direction so as to save their time of confusion. Now, when this Mercury is going to come into the transits, right? So now, since it is coming into transit, it is coming from Sagittarius to Capricorn. It simply means that now, coming out of that fireball, it wants you to find a stable ground now. You no longer have to be a fireball. You no longer have to fight for, communication wise, you have to fight for what is right or what needs to be done. But rather, now it's the time to just be calm and patient, and just find a stable ground. That's what this Mercury is asking within the transit. So one thing that in transits you need to know is you need to have structured communication with limited words for this particular transit. You need not to have elaborated communication. Rather, you need to choose your words wisely. Be grounded. Because when Mercury comes into especially the earth signs and especially Capricorn, it becomes boastful. In Taurus and Capricorn, it becomes boastful because it wants to, show people that I have the authority. I have that, actually Capricorn is the most, status oriented sign. So Mercury wants to show its status here. When Mercury comes into second or 10th house, you want to speak about your status. Whatever you have, you're going to boast about it even more than what you have. So first, be grounded with your speech. Whatever you have, you might have, so much of money within yourself, within your home or bank account. Do not talk about it. This is the rule of Nazar, right? So just be humble, be kind with your communication, be structured with your communication, think before you speak. That is very necessary. Be careful with mistakes regarding documentation, your vocabulary, your speech, you can get misunderstood. And this misunderstanding could also be there because at the same time, when the transit is going to happen, it is going to actually join Sun in the sign of Capricorn. And when Sun and Mercury comes together, it does make a Buddha-Ditya yoga, which is beautiful for career success for this for coming month. It is a beautiful, conjunction to have a very informative and career-oriented research for an individual. It is about balancing and structuring certain things as well, wherever that Capricorn falls. But one thing it can do in a negative way is it can make you misunderstood. So there can be misunderstandings within, people and government, or government altogether. Two governments are just getting some misunderstanding. So you also can have misunderstandings with your speech or with your authorities. So that's why be very careful with that, right? So now coming to different ascendants, right? So this is the this is the Muhurata chart for this particular transit. It is happening on 24th of January and 5:45 p.m., right? And we are having Pushya rising and Cancer rising. So very first prediction, and also the Muhurata chart is going to be Cancer sign. So now we have Mercury in the seventh house entering in the sign of Capricorn and in the nakshatra of Uttarashar, right? For the sign of Cancer, this rules the 12th house and the third house. So these these two houses are considered as very tricky houses. And then it is coming into the third house, into the seventh house, Mercury and Sun. So first of all, for Cancer individuals and all together, this particular transit is going to make misunderstandings between two people. So people have to be careful with their communication because Sun in the seventh house is like a debilitated position. And also Mercury in the seventh house is not the best to have. It loses its directional strength. So people can have communications which can lead to fight or battle. That's why structure your communication. Use limited words and be cautious of what you're speaking. There can be ego battles, especially for Cancerians. There can be ego battles with others. If you are married with your partner, if you are if you are unmarried, you have a partner, then again your partner. And if you are just not in a relationship, not married, then with other people, with whomsoever you interact. So for this, while since moon is in the fifth house, you will actually develop a very negative mindset towards yourself, towards whomsoever you are interacting with. So it's like a very negative situation because at the same time we have a debilitated moon. But altogether, this transit means that you need to work on your communication. Your communication or things related to your intelligence are not going to play out as fierce and as quickly as it would have done in Sagittarius. Now you guys have to be patient with a lot of things. It's like you went on a hike and then you just have to go down and stick to one place so that you don't go further down. So right now you need to seek balance. And since it's a Pushya rising, that means all of this is going to happen with the closed ones. You have to be the sacrificial one. You have to be the bigger person. And you have to leave arrogancy. Because Pushya was related with Brihaspati. And Brihaspati because of his too much indulgence within other people, you know, taking fame and taking, a good respect from other people, he actually sacrificed his family life. That is something is which is not required on your end. You have to work towards that situation, that you don't end up like Brihaspati. You don't end up getting cheated on or getting betrayed. Your emotions can be all over your mind and too much over your mind. So that's why a structured communication, a stable, grounded, humble, kind words, and also carefulness with documentations is a must. Now, if we talk about Cancerians, Cancer ascendant, since third and the 12th house, lords are coming into the 7th house in Uttarashar. This shows that your partnerships, you may actually experience loss, expenses through partnerships. You have to make efforts towards your partnership. Just 1 second. So for Cancerians, this is a time period where they can have conflicts with other people. They can have, a very negative mindset when till the time Mercury is in the 7th house. So it is suggested for uh, Cancerians especially to be little, careful with their actions, right? Since they also have Mars in the 12th house, they would actually end up into situations where they have to, accumulate a lot of things within their mind only. So it's better for them to not to take actions actually. And at the same time, Mercury has gone into the 12th house and retrograde. This is actually a time period where their patience will be tested. Your mind can make you very negative emotionally. But again, our mind is it should be in our control. We should, be the ones to decide what, how we need to see this world. We can either become negative, we can become positive. That's up to us. So it's a testing time, definitely. It's a very critical and criticizing time as well. But try not to indulge into very, you know, very direct communication or fights, verbal fights, which will actually harm you in the future. So for once, just you need to go within and find yourself, find your peace of mind. Because this, whatever transits I can see right now, they're very much towards negative side. And this negative mindset can actually lead to a lot of fights within your surroundings, right? So next is Leo ascendants. So for Leos, Mercury is going into the 6th house, and it is the lord of the 11th and the 2nd. So this is a conflicting position, but it's a position like where out of the conflict, you choose victory or you get victory. You will have expenses towards debt. Either you have to take on debt or you're going to just get done with your debts. If you're applying for any loan, just be careful with the documentation. You might get support from someone, it can be someone from the family or just financial institutions. Okay, so it's a situation where you will very critically analyze your finances, your debts, and also your health. Somehow you will find some time to look after your health. Your gains are going to come with conflicted situations and warlike situations. Okay, so you would require to be very patient and very structured with your communication. Do not end up into any conflict, especially the verbal ones, with anyone. Try to very intelligently get out of whatever conflict or whatever situation you're facing. So it is actually right now, whatever time is going on, it is also developing a very practical mindset within your mind. You definitely would have started experiencing the Ketu transit in the ascendant. So that's why you would actually see a lot of truth about other people. So this is the time for you to learn from it. Okay? And be kind with your words and your communication. Now, next is the sign of Virgo. So for Virgo, since Mercury is actually your first lord, first and the 10th lord, Mercury is going into the 5th. This is actually a beautiful placement for you to research on something. If you are into any fields which require research, this is a beautiful placement to research and analyze and come out with a solution or come out with a verdict or with a decision about something. You may also make some critical changes within your investments and also within your workspace. You would find absolute interest in technology and you would want to buy a technology also. You would want to explore your technical side and also you would want to explore your skills and knowledge. So you can actually see yourself, researching and learning about mythology, about itihas, because someone actually wrote under my video that it's not mythology, it's itihas. So we know that. So 5th house, when Mercury comes into the 5th house, you become very intelligent with your intelligence. But since it is in the sign of Capricorn along with Sun, it's like you either put up a mark or choose your domain with that particular intelligence, or you just be cautious and be very careful with your decisions. Okay, so it's either you becoming a boss and taking bossy decisions, or you becoming the background player and just working around with whatever you have. I hope you get my point, right? But this Mercury is going to make you learn more about politics, learn more about technology, skills, Vedantic knowledge, past life, a lot of things like that. And also it can give a romantic situation. But this is actually a time for you where you will be welcomed with a romantic situation, but whatever you have experienced in the past 1 year, failed relationships or no relationships, the wanting of unionship but not having it, now you have actually become cold towards romance. You are going to become judgmental and criticizing towards romance. So it is going to be very difficult for you to connect emotionally and romantically with someone within this month. Even if some romance comes in, you will find the hardest time to connect. But that is actually the lesson for you. Right? So use your intelligence, but use that in a very structured way. Don't overdo or don't underdo it. Next, the sign of Libra. Mercury in the 4th house, and it is the lord of the 12th and the 9th. You can experience, you would want to make a change, a significant change within your home and even with your appearance. Most of the times I've seen whenever Mercury comes into the transits into the fourth house, and even Venus also comes somehow, along with it. I've seen people getting their hair colored or just getting a different haircut altogether. They just want to experience a very different change within their surroundings. They want to change their surroundings. So that can be something you would want to do. Now, since it is the ninth and the 12th lords coming into the fourth house and it gets conjunct with your 11th house, there can be a situation where you're going to experience a loss but gain wisdom out of it. There can be a loss of a person, there can be a loss of a situation, loss of finances. But this is a time when you are going to isolate yourself for some reason, for some feeling that you have within your mind. You're going to isolate and you're going to learn. Mercury, when comes into the fourth house, I know this person will suddenly develop interest into reading books. They're going to become informative. And at the same time, there's debilitated moon in the second house. So some situation within the family is going to force you to do that. This situation is also going to, this transit is also going to make you put up an authority within your home space. That howsoever compromising you have been, now you'll be like, I have said this has to happen. I don't care. This has to happen. Okay. So this situation, and specifically, I would say that this month can be crucial for your mother's health, because the Lord of sixth from the fourth house is coming into this the Lord of the sixth from fourth and eighth from fourth are coming into the fourth house. So your mother's health can get compromised. Because of that, she has to put up a structure and put up a routine within her life, so as to get better with her health. Okay. So next is the sign of Scorpio. So for Scorpio individuals, these people are going to have Mercury in the third house in Capricorn with Sun. And debilitated moon in the first house. Your emotions can be too much. You can have, just like Cancerians, you can have a very negative mindset during this transit. So because of that, you can have verbal conflicts. You can feel, see, Capricorn is not about fierce, but it's about putting up, like you're commanding someone. You're very fierce with your communication, like you're commanding, and that's it, you're done. You become like a boss lady or boss man. So I do know that Scorpios are actually going to develop a very rigid mindset and very rigidity with their communication, since all the planets, how they are placed, that is giving a lot of strength to you internally, but at the same time it is giving you a lot of rigid mindset also. So I would say that you should be a little flexible right now. Naturally, your circumstances are going to make you rigid, because of which you know you can actually, I won't say harm yourself, but you can lose a lot of good opportunities because of this. So it's better to have a little open mindset towards what is coming in. Rest is your choice, whatever comes in, you like it, you want to take it in, you don't want to take it in, that's purely your energy. But this negativity that is happening in the first and seventh axis, and Mercury also coming into the third house, this can give you unnecessary battles that you might have to deal with. And even it can give you problems within your work situation, job situation. If you are doing a job, then it is 100% going to affect you. If you are into business, then it is also going to affect you then, but the effects are going to be a little less. Right? Just one second. So I just have two systems on and I might be receiving call on one. Just 1 minute. I'll just turn it off. I don't know, but I just noticed something. This is one of the videos where I'm getting like, no, it's actually the first video I'm getting the most interruptions. So I think this is kind of an omen that this particular transit is going to bring in a lot of interruptions in a person's life, right? So coming back to this, it is getting conjunct with the 10th lord. So your career can experience transformations. But I do see you people learning and researching a lot so as to get back within your situation, with your career, and with your knowledge. Right? Now, next is the sign of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this Mercury is coming into the second house. When Mercury comes into the second house, it does bring in a lot of calculations that you do, a lot of budgets that you set for your savings. And also, it gives you a boastful nature about your finances, right? But you have to deal with debt. You have to deal with, okay, so just a second. Oh my God, I'm telling you guys, I've never had this much interruptions. And mostly, I think my daughter was interrupting me. Not I think. Actually, my daughter was interrupting me all this time. So I do feel, see, it's Mercury we are talking about. Mercury is the daughters. And I think somehow this is a very strong omen that I'm getting that there are going to be interruptions within, with this particular transit and for the coming time for everyone. And somehow I feel that you'll have to look after your daughters, you have to look after your female friends about certain situations. I don't know, somehow I feel that that is something that will be happening, right? So coming back to this again, for Sagittarius people, this is happening in the second house. Be very mindful of your communication. See, when Mercury comes into the sign of Capricorn, you're truthful, you're direct, you are blunt. But this sometimes can lead you into warlike situations. So, even though we know that you're trying to be truthful, you're trying to talk about what is right, but sometimes the situations are not like that, that this truthness or this honesty will be appreciated. So, be very mindful of your words, right? And when it's about finances, this actually rules your 10th and your 7th house. All of that is coming into the second. That means even your partner is going to control your assets, control your finances, and even your career also. Your career is going to give you good income. So this is actually a very good period for your finances and for your assets, for building of assets or for evaluating your financial strategies. This is a very good time period for that. But at the same time, be very mindful of your words, be very mindful of your interactions with people, especially within your family. You have a debilitated moon in the 12th house. So whatever communication, whatever exchange of communication and words you're going to have with the family is going to affect your mind, going to affect your peace of mind. So as to save yourself from disturbing situations and isolation, be mindful of your communication. Simple. Right? At the same time, there could be a situation where you just either want to travel or you want to move a little away from your home space. It can even, for some cases, it can even mean that you will have to, go towards a different place to live. So it can also give shift of residence. For people who are trying to apply for overseas and are burdened through that, I do think there can be some progress within that situation. I'm not saying that you're going to go now or you're going to, now finally, because I've seen most of the Sagittarius have the hardest time to travel overseas if they want to. But now you will have some, uh, progress within that particular, you know, criteria. Not completely done with it, but a little bit one. And at the same time, you also have your ninth lord in the second house conjunct. So this is a good situation. You are going to get luck and fortune of wealth, but just zip it. Just get what you have, just get what the finances, the wealth, the fortune, and everything, but zip this and throw the chabi away. Right? Next, the sign of Capricorn. For Capricorns, the Buddha-Aditya Yoga is coming in the first house. And in the second house, it was very fortunate for the Sagittarius. We did talk about that. And now it is going to be fortunate for you. You are going to be able to stand yourself out in front of so many people. For example, at your workspace, you're going to stand yourself out. You're going to mark an authority for yourself. You're going to be respected. You're going to do something in your life in for this transit period that you are going to be respected for that. But be very careful of your friend circle. If you want suggestions, you want advices, go and take it from your family, but not your friend circle. Your friend circle can actually make you, there can be some situation that you have to deal with from your friend circle. They can influence you in a negative way. And then again, which can affect you, and because of which you might, it's like you're going towards success and they're just taking you back, taking you a few steps back. So, as to avoid that, just be careful. Now, for Capricorn individuals, the sixth lord and the ninth lord is coming into the first, along with the eighth lord. So, lots of transformations, lots of different situations you are going to have, and sudden situations you are going to have. But one thing what Mercury can activate is your conflicts with others. It can give you so many conflicts with people in your surroundings and also with your loved ones. So I know you will suddenly find that urge to be truthful, honest, and rather brutally honest. But mind this thing that this can affect your relationships and this can also make you alone. So be careful of that. It's good to be grounded for this time period. Apart from this, I do see that your career is somehow going to help you towards a better situation. But just be careful with your, negative mindset. I think Mercury in this transit is going to create negative mindsets for a lot of people. So out of this negativity, a lot of actions are going to surface. And these actions will have consequences. Okay? So for Aquarius, these people are going to have this transit in the 12th house. Whenever Mercury comes into the 12th house, you become curious about spirituality, about what is outer world, what does outer world has. You become strong with your intuition and your intelligence. Very extremely intelligent people who have Mercury in the 12th house. Very observant, very. Now, this Mercury is the lord of the fifth house and the eighth house. You would want to be in your own space and research and talk. You would love to have secret communications. You may also experience loss of love or just feeling a lot lost in love. This particular Mercury can make you interact with overseas people living at overseas, and you will have good connections, good communication with them, which can lead to a. Now, this is something I'm talking in career regards. It's more towards career rather than marriage or relationship thing. Okay, but yes, there could be a situation. It could be an arrange or a love situation where you might have communication with someone who is living at a distance or even abroad. in some other country. And then this particular, communication may not have a very, it may have a very disappointing outcome for you, because of which you will be very much affected emotionally, right? So be a little careful with your interactions. Have a practical mindset with your interactions. Don't overly indulge into them. And at the same time, you also have moon debilitated in the 10th house. So somehow you have to show a strong authority and a image image of yourself. If you show people that you are internally weak or you're getting weak at a situation, people are going to take benefit of you. So it is like a testing time for you with Saturn in the ascendant also, and since it is leaving that particular sign in the coming months, it is going to give it spark towards the end. So that's why just don't let anyone to take your advantage, and see that if you are getting weak at certain points. But at the same time, do not be arrogant about anything, about don't be boastful. Just stay grounded with your communication, stay grounded with your actions. Okay, now Pisces. So for Pisces individuals, this is happening in the 11th house, and this is kind of making Buddha-Aditya Yoga in the 11th house, and it's a strong one. Now it is actually involving the 4th and the 7th lord along with the 6th lord. It is like a situation where you are going to gain, and you're going to get the social recognition, you're going to gain from society, but at the same time you're going to lose also. So it's like a win-win, lose-lose situation. And because you have Rahu in the first house, you will have your overthinking can actually lead to such a situation. You have Mars in the fourth house. There can be some issue that is going to arise because of property. But I think this might have arisen since a long time. And now it's actually about settling it up. So it's more of a compromise. But still, I would say there is a situation where, you know, you can experience some difficulty and difficult environment within your home. Or it's just that you are not feeling all right and patient within your heart space. You're going to get so many XYZ ideas. You want to accomplish that, you want to do that. So it's like a lot of situations and emotional turmoil that is going around here. This particular Mercury is actually also receiving the eighth aspect of Mars. So definitely this Mercury is about transformations. But these transformations are going to come after a warlike situation. So in your heart space, you might want better for others, but it is going to reflect it in a certain way where people might not understand that, and a warlike situation is going to, get um, activated out of it. Right. So be very careful of your actions, be very careful of your situations. Try to have structured communication. Don't overly speak something, don't overly communicate something. Try to have a balanced relationship with your authorities. So that's all what is needed here. And try not to have a very significant change for at least 1 month. Right? Now, next is the sign of Aries. So for Aries individuals, this is happening in the 10th house. So I told you whenever Mercury comes in the sign of Capricorn, it's like it is coming into the 10th house. It gives some instability towards the career. Now it is the third lord, the sixth lord, and also the fifth lord is getting conjunct here. So there will be transformation regarding your career. There will be transformation in your behavior and your stand towards the authorities as well. So, for example, since you are a Aries ascendant, you might have been very intelligent and very clever with how do you interact with authority. So whenever you are required to be submissive, you are submissive. Whenever you are required to be dominant, you are dominant. But now is the time when you'll suddenly switch from your present emotion. So it can give that fluctuation there. Be careful with your government related documents. And if you're going to the government for getting something done, just recheck the documents again. Just carefully listen to what you are told to do. This is also a very fierce combinations that I can see at present. So a lot can happen within your career and also with your interactions within your career. There's a lot of expenses, a lot of responsibilities, this and that, a lot of things are happening. This Mercury just is telling you that your communication can actually be explosive for that, all of those things happening. So you already have a lot of things on your plate. This Mercury can add on more. So it's better to just, balance this Mercury out. It's better to have a structured communication for approximately a month, for 20 days approximately. Okay. But if you go with a perfect communication, a structure, a balance, you can actually gain nicely out of this situation. You can get social recognition, fame for your abilities. This could even make you switch your job or make some significant changes within your career. And you would want to learn more about something you are passionate about. It's more towards, learning something. And even with writing, you're going to have a good time. You're going to feel very motivated to write. Okay. Now, next is the sign of Taurus. So for Taurus, this is happening in the 9th house. Again, it is a Budh Aditya Yoga. It is coming into your Bhagya Sthan, your the place of fortune. But when Sun and Mercury comes into the 10th, it is definitely a very fortunate placement, but also this is a placement which makes you learn a lot. Learn about morals. You use your morals in your daily life situation. I do see that your mother's health can get affected because of these transits, and especially with Mercury. It's coming 6th from the 4th house, and it is coming in the 9th, which is the house of your father. So your parents' health can be affected, and you may also have verbal arguments with your parents. There can be fight within your home, or fight for the finances, fight for the assets. Okay, but this is a time to have a very structured communication with self about what you think is right at this particular situation. This Mercury can actually bring in battles for you. We just overlook Mercury as if this is not a crucial planet, but it is. Right? So it's all about learning. It's all about getting your intellect furnished. And this communication, the groundedness within the communication is very necessary for your relationships, because you also have debilitated moon in the 7th house. So something related to some burden can be there because of relationships that can actually make you go into a situation where you are forced to just be very critical minded with your communication, very direct and judgmental with your communication. Okay. Now, lastly, we have the sign of Gemini. For Geminis, this is happening in the 8th house. Very similar to Sagittarius's, they will have to deal with their fixed assets, their finances. They will also have to deal with insurances, insurance money, especially insurance money or return on investments. Now, this has the first and the fourth lord going into the eighth. Be very careful of your health. For Geminis, they can undergo some sort of surgery or they can have some difficulty with their health. And this health is not just the physical health, it is also the emotional health. So it's like you have the first, fourth, and especially the third lord in the eighth house. You have the two houses which are full of transformation. Eighth house is transformation, third house is, the father of transformation. And you have both of them in the eighth house. Sun does illuminate the house it is in and the opposite house also. But you know what? Second house is also a mark sthan where something comes to an end. So it's not always about illumination of wealth, but it can be illumination of that. This is the time for you to take care of your health. This is the time for you to just not overlook your health and just be considerate about it. This can be a very powerful situation and powerful combinations that you might have. But at the same time, see, Mars is in the first house and it has come in retrogression mode. It was not currently there. It has gone already from Gemini and then it has come back here. Then you have Ketu in the fourth house. At the same time, you have debilitated moon in the sixth house, and then the sixth lord is coming into the first house. It's like a very chaotic situation for one person's health, and also, a lot of conflicts within your surroundings are going to just take a toll on your health. And if you are into a job, do not overdo yourself. Since Rahu is in the 10th house, it is making you take a responsibility. That doesn't mean that you have to take all the responsibility just over your shoulder. Just delegate a little bit. Just take care of your health and take care of your mental health also. Okay, so I think after, a lot of chaotic situation ever since November when Mars actually went debilitated. I think January was still a relieving period for a lot of people. But now, since Mercury is going to enter Capricorn along with Sun is already there. I think again it's like that the spark did go down. It just completely went away. Then, sometimes when it's a very Indian thing, I think. Sometimes we on Diwali we have a anar, right? I'll just stop sharing this and then I'll tell you. So sometimes while in Diwali we have a anar firecracker, right? And we just light it up. And this is something that happens with me many times. And what we do is it just gives all that flames for a while and then it just goes off. And we think it has gone off and we go there to just, push it on the side that we are done with this particular firecracker. And then suddenly it gives a spark. And we just get, a little scared about, oh, what did happen? It still had that spark. That is a situation that has happened from the month of November till almost February, till the time Jupiter goes direct, till the time Mars goes direct. And Mercury has entered the sign of Capricorn. So it's like the spark was there, it went down, but it still had something left. Now, this spark is again going to ignite with Mars coming retrograde in the sign of Gemini and Mercury in Capricorn, sixth from its position. And it's also receiving eighth aspect, not sixth from its situation, sorry. It's receiving eighth aspect of Mars. It's eighth from Mars. So that's why there's a sudden spark that is again going to be there. There's warlike situation again going to be there. And then again, once and for all, it'll settle down. So, guys, this was my analysis. I got a lot of interruptions. I will again say that. So that's what interruptions we are going to have during the coming time period, right? So I hope you guys go very nicely and very gracefully through that, right? So if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And if you guys would like to have your personal readings, you can check out the link below in the description box. And even the timestamps are going to be in the description box. www.anmollastrology.com. Under the reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. And under unique reading section, you can book a unique reading for yourself. Okay. So see you next time. Bye bye. Take care.